And hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the show, y'all. Happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend and a great Monday. It is Juneteenth. Yeah. Hopefully you're out there and are celebrating. We'll talk a little bit more about that here as we get into the show. Well, welcome back to the power of a positive mindset. And I am thrilled that you're here. I get to walk you through this incredible journey that we're on, right? This journey of growth and discovery. And today we're delving a little deeper into this idea of a powerful and a positive mindset. We're going to be talking in this episode about the concept of positivity. And we talked about the science behind positivity. We talked about positivity before, but in this episode, we're talking about the negativity bias. Have you ever wondered why you are always and sometimes tempted to just see the negative in things that happen, to pay more attention to those things that may not be positive? That's called the negativity bias. And we're going to talk today about that. And we're going to talk about some techniques that you can use to overcome this challenging issue, this negativity bias, as we delve further into the power of a positive mindset. So let's dive in. If you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to go take charge of your health, avoid complications, and go to the next level, creating the life you've always wanted. If you are new, go ahead and put new in the comments because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music. And also go ahead and put a Q in front of the question if you have questions as we go throughout the evening, because I want to answer those for you. As I mentioned, this is Juneteenth, June 19th. So excited that we have the opportunity to celebrate freedom of the slaves. And it's one of those things that can be empowering, but there are always places where we have a place for growth. So as you've heard me say here on the channel, we're always growing, we're always changing. And this is an opportunity for us to have more and more conversation. We in our country and around the world, we've become so polarized sometimes that simply celebrating something that is positive can cause some dissension. And so I hope that you had a wonderful time today as we celebrated Juneteenth, and that it caused some places for conversation, right? Excited about that. So it's June 19th, and we are moving through the month. We're moving through the sixth month. This is the sixth month of the year. Right? At the end of this month, we're going to be halfway through the year, y'all. And as I have said from the beginning, this is the year that we are using to become unstuck, to move from where we are to a place of betterment, right? So we want to change whatever it is, wherever you are, whatever place you may find yourself, where you're not satisfied. We want to use this year as a jumping off point. Now, notice I said jumping off point because it's not the end. Because when we get to the end of the year, even though we have achieved some things, there's still always room for growth. So glad that you're here. If you've not already done so, go ahead and hop over to our YouTube channel. And if you've not looked at some of the things that we have there, some of the videos, let me see if I can pull that up here really quickly so that you can take a look. Let me pop that over. And it should be coming here in just a minute. This is our YouTube channel. Okay, and on the YouTube channel, you'll see, of course, this is the one that we're doing right now, the Unlocking Positivity, Conquering Your Brain's Negativism. But we did videos and we did series on diabetes. So Mastering Diabetes is the first one you see there at the top. And I believe there are 25 videos in that series. Reinventing Yourself, Designing a New You. I think there are 26 videos in that one. The Art of Letting Go. That's a series we just completed. There are 6 videos in that. And of course, we are now working on this series, The Power of a Positive Mindset. We also did this one called the Doctor as Entrepreneur, talking about harnessing your gifts, your current skills, figuring out how you can monetize some of the things that you currently do and things that you know. And it says the doctor is entrepreneur, but remember, we're not limiting it to physicians. So anyone can use that. The principles are the same. And then, we have lots of other videos that we've done on diabetes, on thyroid, some ones that we've done on different devices within diabetes and so on and so forth. So make sure that you get over there and take a look at those. And then if you remember, we've had several guests on the show, including my wife, and then back to some of our older videos. We are approaching this year, y'all, 3 years, our 3-year anniversary. So I'm excited about that. So make sure that you get over there and look at some of those things. If you know people who have not subscribed, make sure that you get with them so that they can also be a part of what we're doing. All right. So we are talking about the power of a positive mindset, y'all. The power of a positive mindset. That's the series that we have been doing, the power of a positive mindset. And we've already, as you heard, talked about positivity, what that means. We gave some tools to be able to navigate through positivity. We talked last week about the science behind positivity, how it rewires the brain. And then in this episode, we're going to be talking about the negativity bias, which is an interesting process, right? Interesting process. So negativity. Have you wondered why your brain does that? Something happens and we automatically gravitate towards negativity. And so the negativity bias is the brain's tendency to focus on negative information. So the brain's tendency to focus on negative information. And you've seen it before, right? So you have something that happened and automatically your brain says, oh, look at that. That's wrong. Or that's a negative thing. And we'll talk about some examples here as we get further into the show. So why is it here? Why is it there? Why is negativity? Why does our brain tend to do that? And we are in the process, or our brain is in the process of keeping us alive. It is a survival mechanism. So as we go through life, the brain is always looking for places to protect us. So anything that it sees as a danger, something that's life-threatening, then the brain will do things mentally or make us do things physically or make us feel a way emotionally, which leads to a physical response. The brain will make us do those things in order to protect us. So the brain is always looking for what the dangers are in our environment. Okay, so that's what happens with the negativity bias. Now, what the problem is this, right? So the brain reacts to modern stressors as though they are life-threatening. Now, when we are out, as you talk through and walk through this, there are lots of thoughts and theories about how this came about. But you can imagine being out in the wilderness somewhere and your adrenaline comes up or increases because the body perceives something that's going on. A bear, a tiger is chasing you. You're in cold, right? So freezing. There is danger because there are people attacking. All of those things are reasonable because we've got to be able to protect ourselves. But in our modern life, the brain also sees a lot of things that we see in what we do as stressors. So things like traffic, right? Being stuck in traffic, pressure at work. All those things show up as, I've got to protect myself, right? Or our social media. All of those things are seen as by the brain as, okay, this could be dangerous. And so the body makes us do things that will supposedly protect us. So it stops us from proceeding. It stops us from taking risk. It stops us from venturing out. It forces us, in a sense, to stay within the confines of this little box that we've created, because in the box, we've accounted for everything, supposedly, right? And as you know, we never account for everything. But that's what the body and the brain says. If I can keep us in this box, if I can keep us in this space, then I don't have to worry about all the things that are out there. And so all these modern things that we see are places where the body is trying to pull us back. Now, there's scientific research that says that we tend to respond stronger to negative stimuli than we do to positive stimuli. And this is the whole idea behind punishment, right? So supposedly, people recoil from pain more than they move towards pleasure. Now, there is some dissension about whether that is totally true, but you get the idea that we tend to be more motivated to avoid pain. What happens, though, is if you look at a lot of the research, we tend to have longer lasting improvement when we are gravitating towards pleasure. So let me say that again. So the immediate response is, I'm going to avoid pain. But if we want that behavior to continue, it is more resilient, if you will. It's stronger and it lasts longer if it is a gravitation towards pain as opposed to a recoil from gravitation towards pleasure than it is a recoil from pain. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's kind of like this whole idea of negativity bias. It's like if I held up a bowl of apples and there was one apple that was bad, then our eyes would gravitate to the one apple. Not the 10 apples that are in there that are good, but the one apple that is bad. So that's what we do. That's what we do. Our brain responds to opportunities that are lost more easily than it responds to opportunities that are gained. Right? So we have all these things that have happened to us. And we see, oh man, that one lost thing. It's kind of like when we take an exam, right? And a lot of us are perfectionistic, right? You miss that one point on the test. It's like, man, why did I miss that one point? No, we don't ever say, well, man, I got 99. Right? It's like, I shouldn't say we don't ever say, but but a lot of times we will focus on that one point that we've missed. And so that's the whole idea behind negativity bias. So the problem is that we react to modern stresses as if they are life threatening. So we've got to recognize our own negativity, right? We got to recognize our own biases. And as we're moving towards talking about the negativity bias and recognizing them, you're going to find that the way that we begin to deal with it is not just recognizing it, but also replacing it or adding positive experience. Let me go back. Let me take that replacing. So adding positive experiences, right? Family gatherings, achievement. It's the reason why a lot of times we'll put kids in sports and kids in other activities, right? Because we are trying to boost their confidence. We're trying to give them something that takes the balance, right, and weighs in a positive way. And we'll talk about that here as we get into there's a tool that we're going to talk about, right? So that's the idea, right? So we want to add positive experiences because those positive experiences outweigh the negative ones. And you've heard me talk about the coach, right? That coach that's on the shoulder, that coach that's in the brain, that's in the mind, that coach that tells you, yes, you can do something. Because that coach, we want that coach to be much stronger than the part of the brain that tells us, no, we can't. And in order for that coach that cheerleader to give us what we need, we've got to give enough experiences. We've got to give enough fuel to outweigh that negative part of the brain. That makes sense? So as we're rewiring, and we talked about rewiring last week, right? So those positive experiences help to rewire those synapses, and so that we get that dopamine rush from the positive things that we've done. Yeah. Okay, so back to talking about recognizing our own negativity biases, right? So personal negativity. There are a lot of things that go on in our lives that we see, and we see them negatively. And negativity, this bias, can be very subtle. In fact, it operates a lot on the subconscious, because if we're not careful, even in our positiveness, we get something, for instance, the exam I just talked about, we get that paper and say, oh yes, my goodness. And when we're initially happy that we passed, right? That we got a good grade. But right on the heels of that, there's a piece of us, there's that part of the brain, even though we're looking at that paper with a 99% on it, there's a part of the brain that says, man, if I had just studied a little bit more, or man, if I hadn't changed my mind, or man, if I hadn't such and such, I would have gotten that extra point. Yeah, it happens. It happens. And so that's subconscious. And our subconscious is responsible for our perceptions and our judgment. Or let me say, it is involved. I shouldn't say it is responsible. It is involved in our perception and our judgment. So even as we are out looking at and dealing with the world, our behavior and our interactions are being influenced by our subconscious. So it is giving us, right, subtly, it is giving us information. Oh, this situation that I'm in, this conversation that I'm having is similar to a conversation I've had before. And so it makes us, it forces us, it convinces us to behave in a certain way. It convinces us to respond to the person in a certain way. It convinces us to respond to the situation in a certain way. And it's not a conscious decision. We don't stop and think through the process and say, oh, I'm going to respond this way. But as we are in that situation, our subconscious is back there and it's telling us a story. It's writing a story. Even if the situation that we're in is not fully laid out to us. What I mean by that is you're interacting with someone, you're in a thing at work or with a relationship or something that you're trying to do, and it's not quite going the way you want, or it is going the way you want. But the subconscious is writing a story. It's always in the back writing a story based on our experiences, based on our thoughts, based on our beliefs, and based on this idea of negativity bias. What if that doesn't work out? What if I can't get that? What if she doesn't like me? What if I don't get the job? Wouldn't it be better to think, well, what if I do get the job? What if she does like me? What if she does say yes to marry me? What if, right? So, but we don't do that. We go on the other side. Yeah. So take an example. Let me pop back over here. So subconscious, right? It's always influences, is always going on. So let's recognize, right? Recognizing once again our own biases. So the question is, what everyday scenarios do we know where negativity bias may be manifested? Okay, where is that? Okay, I'm pausing. All right, I'm pausing. I want you to think about that for a minute. So here's an example, right? You are being evaluated, and you receive. I mean, everybody's like, "Oh man, this John is great," or Susie, she does a really job, or Johnny, what, right? So everybody's like excited, but there's one constructive criticism. John, Susie, Joe, Mary, whatever your name is, you could be a little bit more assertive. you could be a little bit prouder of your work. I wish perhaps you would get here a little earlier. Right? So everything else is great, but there's that one thing. What do you think we focus on? What do you think we focus on? Not all of the other stuff, right? But that one mild criticism, that we have. That becomes blown up in our mind. It's magnified. As, oh my goodness, this is what they think about me. Not that, oh, this is just a part of the whole. And I've had it happen to me before. You know, we do a survey in our office. And everyone who walks through gets an email and they get to do the survey. Whether a new patient, existing patient, so forth. And we review those. And I remember sitting down reviewing them a while back. And, you know, it was good. It was good. People were saying, hey, we like what you do. We like you're personable. You have a good bedside manner. Hey, we love the fact that you've helped us improve our blood sugars. We like the fact that you've helped me get more stable with my thyroid. I love the fact that I'm losing some weight. Well, whatever it was. But there were some negative comments. And when I say negative, I mean, yeah, there were some really negative ones, but there were some subtle ones. It was like, yeah, I mean, I wish such and such. I wish I didn't have to check in on the kiosk. I wish a person could check me in. Right? So on the heels of all the other stuff, okay, you're great, right? Not great, but right? Everything else is working fine. But I wish I didn't have to check in on that machine. Or I wish I wish I didn't have to valet park downstairs. I wish, whatever they were saying. And you know what I focused on? Yeah. That's right. The negative comments. Because that negativity bias is there. That's what happens. That's what happens. How about this one? Right? How about social media? And feeling inadequate. So this is an interesting one because not only can we feel inadequate when we get a comment about us, right? So a negative comment comes in or a positive comment comes in and we phrase it in a negative way in our minds. But also we're watching other people and they are being successful and we're not being as successful. We don't think we're pretty as they are. We're not as confident as they are. Our show is not as popular as theirs, right? So people are moving on, and we see that in a negative light. I must not be good because he's doing better, or she's doing better, or their show is more popular. Right? Simply by seeing other people succeed. So it can be very subtle. And it shows up in very interesting ways if we don't deal with it. How about making minor mistakes at work? Right? So you make a mistake at work and you worry about those mistakes excessively, even though the overall performance is good. And this goes back to what I mentioned a while ago, where you're getting good evaluations, but there's that one comment on the evaluation that says, right, hey, I wish you would do blah, 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 or we could improve this area, or we could. Can't talk. So isn't it interesting that in an evaluation situation, right? So we're looking at how you are doing, and we're actually in our office, we're setting up for, okay, what are we going to be working on next? What are the other things that we need to improve? What areas are we going to expand in? And you sit with someone and you go through the whole evaluation and everything is good. Hey, great hair, great hair, great hair, great hair. Hey, these are the things we're going to work on. And it's almost like we don't expect that there should be places for us to improve. Right? And that sits right in line with this idea of the negativity bias. So as we move to, okay, what do we do? What do we do? Right? So self-reflection activity. This is what I want to talk about now. So I want you to think about a recent situation where you may have experienced negativity bias. So I want you to process, go through your mind, right? And this is going to be something that you have to sit down. You can do it now as you're listening. But I want you to give it some thought, right? After we're done here, go back and pause. And I want you to give some thought. Think of a recent situation, something that happened recently, where you may have had negativity bias. And remember what it is the tendency to look at the negative aspect of something or a situation. So as you think about that situation, what emotions did you feel? What emotions did you feel? And when you think about the emotions that you felt, what emotions did you focus on? What did you focus on? So you're in a relationship and your partner, your husband, your wife says something to you. Your mother, your father, your sister, your cousin, your auntie, your boss. What emotion did you feel? And in that process, what emotion did you focus on? Were there positive aspects to the situation that you overlooked? So if you focused on primarily negative, or even if you focused on positive ones, were there other positive aspects of that situation that you overlooked? Why did you overlook those? And then discuss this with a friend or someone you trust and journal about it. We talked about journaling last week. Write those down. If we are going to succeed, we have to practice. If we're going to get better in all the things we do, we have to practice. So here's a perfect activity, right? The self-reflection activity. So think about a recent situation where you may have had negativity bias. What emotions did you feel? What did you focus on? What emotions did you focus on? Were there positive aspects to that situation that you overlooked? Why did you overlook them? That's an important one. Why? Right? Because we want to evaluate. We want to uncover our thought process, our beliefs, the things that are making us feel a certain way. Because remember, a situation happens. Our beliefs about that situation, that's what dictates our feelings. Our feelings dictate our behavior, and our behavior dictates our result. Right? So why did you overlook them? And then discuss those with a friend, with a colleague, someone that you trust, and also journal about it. All right, so that's our activity. All right, so let's take a pause here, and let's go ahead and give another plug. Guys, remember, we would love for you to engage with us. If you see us out in the social media space, please go ahead and say hello. Let us know that you are out there. I love engaging. I love talking to, and I love answering questions. If you've not already done so, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you know someone who's not subscribed, go ahead and share this with them. Let them know that we are building a community and that we are moving and improving. We're getting better, y'all. That's right. We are getting better. Go ahead and get over to our website as well. Let me pull that up. That's Dwayne Wood MD, and you will see all of our exciting things that are going on. We've got our blog, growing blog. This is lots of good information that are out there. Things about diabetes, about children, about food, general health, heart disease, journaling, how do we get to the next level, personal growth, thyroid, all those things are out there. You can also catch us on our podcast, Do You Know? Is Do You Know with Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's it. That's me right there. See that picture? That's that guy. All right. And our Ready, Set, Grow. Ready, Set, Grow is our group that we are building. You can become a part of that by just going over to the website. And then if you're interested in coaching, if you're interested in working with me, then you can do that there on our website. You can sign up. We would love to come alongside and work with you as you get better, as you grow, as you become unstuck, as you improve, and as you use the things that we're talking about and the things that we will learn in designing a new you, getting to the next level. All right. Awesome. And so make sure you guys get over there and avail yourself of that. So some tools. So we talked about this. We just talked about the self-reflection activity, but what other tools do we have that we can use in our toolbox? So mindfulness or mindful awareness, right? Remember, mindfulness was the center in our 5-point positivity compass. You remember that? So mindfulness, recognizing when negativity bias is in play, being aware, being present, and considering if negativity bias is affecting your judgment. Because we said that it is subconscious, it's subtle, and sometimes we don't realize that it's happening. So mindful awareness, you want to make sure that you are in the present and that you're always open to the fact that you could be having a response to negativity bias. Positive reframing, right? So changing the narrative of a situation to find the positive aspects of it and learning from that experience, right? So as we're reflecting, one of the things that we're going to be learning about is the fact that, hey, this is how I tend to think. This is how I tend to see this. And using that to begin reframing and restructuring how we think and using those as learning activities going to be so important. Remember, we're talking again about other tools and techniques that we can use to combat negativity bias. The gratitude practice, regularly taking time to appreciate the positive things in life. And you'll begin seeing there are core things. Come over here. There are core things that you will find that are constant. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what you're trying to change. It doesn't matter what you're trying to improve. There are some basic things that you will continue to hear. Mindfulness, gratitude, right? Those are core. Those are key. So regularly taking time to appreciate the positive things in life. That's what gratitude practices are. And we've talked about how to do that in the past. We'll come back and do some additional shows on that. So limit your exposure to negative inputs. Limit your exposure to negativity, y'all. Be mindful again, of the information and the environments that you expose yourself to. This is where this idea of community becomes so important. Birds of a feather flock together. So if you're putting yourself in situations where there's constant negativity, then guess what? You're feeding not the coach, not the cheerleader side. You're feeding the other guy or gal. So be mindful of the information and environment that you choose to put yourself in. And then seek positive experiences. I mentioned before, if we are going to be better at negativity, we got to actively seek and engage in activities and experiences that give us positive emotions so that we can begin offsetting the balance between negativity and positivity. If everything that happens in your life, if every thought that you have, if every experience, if every situation that you're in, if you're always negative, right, then the balance sheet is always going to be geared to one side. And so sometimes we can't wait for those experiences to come to us. We've got to go actively seeking them. This is the idea of, a couple who's having trouble from their past. They've had history. One of the ways to begin rebuilding is to go out and actively seek new experiences. We're rewriting the relationship in a positive way. That's what we got to do. So seek positive experiences that will allow you to build those memories. And so once again, this cheerleader, this coach has some stuff to work with, right? So let's go ahead and let me talk to you about what I'm calling the positive balance sheet. Positive balance sheet. So a balance sheet is a place where you list your assets and you list your liabilities so that you are aware that you know what you have. So a balance sheet. Okay. So on your paper, in your journal, and here you see the balance sheet down at the bottom. There are 3 of them, right? So the assets, the liabilities, and then the third one is equity, right? So what does that result, right? We're not going to do the third column here. We're just going to do the first and second, the assets and liabilities. So we're going to create 2 columns. We're going to label them at the top. Assets on one side, liabilities on the other side. So positives are going to be assets, negatives are going to be liabilities. So whenever you encounter a situation, you're going to have this. And you'll do it. I want you to do this manually, physically do it. Write it down. As you get better, when you're in a situation, you'll be better able to do it on the fly. But for now, write it down. And even when you get to the point where you can do it in your head, when you're finished with the situation, when you leave, when you get home, when you get to your office, get your journal out and write that down in this form, this positive balance sheet. So whenever you encounter a situation, list the positives under the assets and the negatives under the liabilities. And you're always aiming to have more positives on the balance sheet by adding more assets and minimizing the liabilities. So that means that in that situation, you got to search for positive ideas. All right. So let's do a quick example. Let's do an example. So let's evaluate your day. You're evaluating your day. Now, some positive things happen, some negative things happen. Okay. So let's go through and let's look at the positive side. So the positive of this day, right? Woke up in the morning. I had a delicious breakfast. Ding. Positive. Let's see, do I have a bell on here somewhere? No, I'll I was gonna do a little bell. Let me see if I can find it. Bell. No, I got a harp, but that won't sound. Okay. All right. So I had a delicious breakfast. How an applause. Boom. Yay. Number 2, I received praise from a colleague for a job well done. Somebody said, "Hey, you did a good job." That's a positive. And you had a great workout at the gym. That's a positive. On the negative side, I got stuck in traffic for 30 minutes. Depends on where you live. I used to live in a city, I won't call it, where we got stuck in traffic all the time. Okay, so that's a negative. I forgot to bring lunch. That's a negative. I missed an important phone call. That's a negative. Okay, so you're listing positives and negatives. Now, in this case, I needed to have listed another positive on the positive side, right? Because I said I want you to do more positive. So no, I said it at the beginning, but I didn't list it. So I woke up this morning. That's a positive. Yay! Simple example of using the balance sheet. Yes. So you want to make sure that you are using those tools. Not just, hey, I listened to this thing that this guy said, and yeah, but I want you to use the things that you're learning. And we're talking once again about the science behind positivity, because everything affects our body. Everything affects everything. It's all intertwined. So people ask me sometimes, they say, you're a medical doctor. Why do you talk about personality? And why do you talk about growth? And why do you talk about development? And why do you talk about positivity, right? Why do you talk about letting go? You know why? Because all those things impact health. All those things impact health. And you can't successfully treat diabetes and weight issues and fatigue and live with rheumatoid arthritis and all the diseases that we may find without developing and building yourself first. Because there's a lot of doubt that comes with that. There's pain that comes with certain diseases. There's depression that comes with certain diseases. In fact, a lot of diabetics can be depressed. And so learning and building this process, building ourselves up, is so important if we're going to be able to deal with the diseases. And so why are we talking about positivity? The positive power of a positive mindset? Because it plays a part in everything that we do. It plays a part in everything that we do. And guys, this is a great place for us to pause and for us to go ahead and do our thought of the day. And our thought of the day is this: that every step counts. Every step matters. I say it again. Every step counts. Every step matters. If we are going to be positive, if we're going to embrace and work on the power of a positive mindset, then every step that we take counts in our process. And so every time we do something, every time we work on this journey, we've got to embrace the positive in that step. Because if nothing else, that step is a step towards something or a step away from something. So if we don't take that step, we don't know whether we are moving closer to our goal or not. So even if you're stepping in the wrong direction, in a different direction, by virtue of evaluating that step, you know, hey, I'm heading in the wrong direction. I've got to turn around, or I've got to pivot. I've got to move. I've got to change. So the step that you're taking may not immediately put you in the space that you need to be, that you want to be, that you're heading to. But every step counts. And every step allows us to evaluate where we are. It's a process. It's an ongoing process. And so if we're going to have a journey of success, a journey of growth, a journey of fulfillment, if we're going to have a life that we want, if we're going to create the life that we want, then we've got to be able to look at those steps honestly and enjoy the positives that come with each step. And that is our thought for today. All right. And so we're back and we're talking about the power of a positive mindset. Oh man, I have loved these. I love this series that we're doing. So excited that we did the previous series. The series that was entitled The Art of Letting Go, y'all. That really changed a lot for me. And this series right here is changing a lot for me as well as I learn and as I grow. Last week, I talked a little bit about the difficulty I had in telling a story of some things that happened to me during medical school. And there are so many other things that have gone on in my life. But I'm learning that those things can be assets, that they help to build me up, that they help to push me forward, that they help to really reorient me and help me to move to a better place. At the time, I'm telling you, at the time, I did not want them. I didn't want any lessons. I didn't want to learn anything. Just let me be successful in what I want. But I wasn't. And now I look back and say, man, I wish I had a place. I wish I had someone. I wish I had some person, some people who taught me some of the lessons that we are working on right now on this show. Positivity, mindset, personal growth, how to set goals, and not wait for the end product, but to enjoy each step of the way. And so this past April, we did a Sugar Busters course. It was a challenge. It was on YouTube. We've repurposed that information. And I told you it's coming. So tomorrow, that's going to be released. It is a powerful way of learning to control our thoughts, a powerful way of begin learning who we really are and taking control of ourselves, of our mind. Now, I said it was Sugar Busters, but the concepts that we learn are exactly the same, y'all, for anything that you want to change, as we're going through here now, right? The concepts that we're learning, man. But in the course, you get to walk through it with me. You get to walk through the process with me. And we will talk about how we do that. There's some fun things that we're going to do. You get to evaluate yourself. You get to listen to the thoughts and the processes and all those things that are required to begin building up ourselves, building yourself. You don't want to be in the space where you are a year from now. You want to look back and say, man, I'm not where I want to be, maybe, but I sure am not where I used to be. And that's always my goal, because I don't want to be the same person to next year that I am this year. I don't want to be the same person tomorrow that I am today, because I'm always working on and always trying to grow. And this is going to be a great opportunity for you as well. So make sure you pay attention to that. We're going to put that out on our social media platforms. It's going to come out on our website, and you'll be able to sign up for that course. You'll be able to walk through it at your own pace. You'll be able to pause it, stop it, listen, rewind. So pay attention to that. And if you have not already done so, please go ahead and find us on our social media platforms. You know, we're out there. We're on everything. LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter. Let's see. Can I pull that up? Let me see if I have that. One of these things. So that you can be able to hang out with us. I think it's that one right there. See, there you go. So Dwayne Wood MD, and you can find me on all of our social media platforms using that handle. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of those, you'll find us at the same space. And of course, here on the YouTube channel, Dwayne Wood MD. Please subscribe. Make sure that you are using the tools that we have given you. Okay. So for this one that we use tonight, I want you, if you are out there, when you get to when you see our posts, and even in the chat here, I want you to put hashtag, and let me pull it back up here. Get back to our, right? So remember we just talked about our balance sheet, but the self-reflection activity, okay, and the balance sheet. So I want you to put hashtag balance sheet, positivity balance sheet, sorry, hashtag positivity balance sheet, and use it. I don't want you to just listen. I want you to use it in your personal day, and then let us know how you are using it, right? Put that in there so that we can begin sharing with each other how these things are helping. Anyway, this is Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health, your life, avoid complications, go to the next level, and create the life you've always wanted. We are talking about the power of a positive mindset. The power of a positive mindset. And this one was talking about the negativity bias. Now, next week, we'll probably have a recorded video because I'm going to be hanging out with the family for a little bit. But come on back, right? Come on back, and we will learn something together. And we'll see you at the next episode. Good night, everybody.